Alright, welcome back to part 2. Basically, we're going to cover the software portion of the Launchpad sensor tag. So in the previous video, we unboxed the Launchpad sensor tag, we put together, add the batteries, etc. Now we're going to cover the software portion. So first step, of course, I recommend is to actually go to the website, dev.ti.com/LPSTK. And they take you to the Resource Explorer page from there. And this just explains the sensor tag and gives you some additional information about how the out-of-box experience is supposed to work, and links you to the code and examples that are specifically built for this development kit. So that's always, of course, a good thing to have referenced. But basically how the out-of-box experience works is there is a app that can be downloaded for iOS or Android devices, called the TI Simple Ink Starter app. So I went ahead and did that. Once you have it kind of started up, you can see here you do want to make sure that the location permissions are set so that it will actually be able to detect the Bluetooth devices around here. And so once that's available, you'll have your list of Bluetooth nearby Bluetooth devices. You want to, of course, make sure that the sensor tag is on. So you want to switch to the on position, double check your blue LED is advertising. Reset the device here. Okay, so now we're advertising. Now in the app we should see it being populated here. It's called multi-sensor. Should have very strong signal. You can connect to that, and it's going ahead and discover the services. So now we're into our app here. You will see that instead of the blinking blue, we now have the solid green, which means it is connected via BLE to a host device. So we're talking to that. You can see here the cloud view, which is basically an example of some cloud service type stuff you can do using the phone as kind of your gateway. You've got the RSSI, which is your signal strength, based on how far you are from the Bluetooth device. You have device information, which is giving you some different hard-coded type information. You have the over-the-air service, which I can click into that right now. Basically, if you want to update firmware wirelessly, you can use this over-the-air feature. And there's some pre-programmed firmware options that you can utilize directly. Don't even have to write any code necessarily. We have the ability to select the factory firmware, and then you also have the ability to write a custom one. Let's go ahead and do the factory, and then when you click in here you see 6 images available, so you can click into that and you can see here's some of the demos for Thread, BLE, Zigbee, etc. So we click one of these images, it would then update the firmware to our sensor tag over here, which is pretty cool. And then if you want to write some custom firmware and you want to also do that over the air, you have the option to do the select custom one. You want to download that firmware binary file to your phone locally, and then it will just navigate you to the local file explorer where you can get that custom firmware binary file. So that's pretty cool. So that's how you do the over the air update stuff. Okay. It looked like it disconnected us, so you see the LED's off again. Might have hibernated or something as well. I'm just going to reset sensor tag. Alright, so you see it's advertising again. We should be able to find it over here. Multi-sensor. It'll populate the services. It might take a second. It doesn't always do this immediately. You might be thinking about something. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the app wants to say something. Let's reconnect again. Alright, there we go. So now it's actually trying to connect. You should see that solid green LED. There we go. There's the green LED. It's discovering the services, and we should see those services repopulate again on the app. So continuing the tour, we've got ambient temperature. This is provided from the HTC chip. You got humidity as well. And then you've got your light sensor, which you can kind of play with just by covering the sensor. You should see the values go down, and then when you have it exposed again, you'll see the values go up. There's a LED service, so you see the green LED is on right now. We can turn that off. Turn it on. We can turn the red LED on. So that's pretty good. And then we've got inputs as well. So you got the 2 push buttons we showed before. You can see we can trigger those independently. Awesome. You've also got a battery level indicator, which is super handy. And then the accelerometer is, I think, sleeping right now, but as soon as you get some movement, you should see some wake on the sensor, and then now you're streaming all the accelerometer data. So those are kind of the demo services, goes through most of the different sensors and everything for the sensor tag, which is pretty awesome. Now this is pretty good by itself, but of course the key part of a board like this is we want to upload custom code or custom firmware, etc. So to do that, what you want to do is then pair it with the launch pad. So I'll put this aside for now. So to pair it with the launch pad, we have a connector here. That's the ARM JTAG connector. It's a standard 10-pin connector. It's got a little groove in it. It's a keyed connector. Let's go back into the box, and they gave us this ARM connector. It looks like a 2-sided cable, so you've got one with a little protruded piece there, and that will fit exactly with our sensor tag board here. So if you have a Simple Link launchpad, really any of them, any Simple Link launchpad will work. That has this XDS110 debugger. You'll be able to program these things. So basically, this is an MSP432 launchpad, for example. You see here there's 2 of those ARM connectors. You want the top one, the XDS110, out. It also has the keyed connector again, so grab your cable and then you can line it up to fit on like so. So now if you have, you know, your PC or something like that, you take your USB cable like normal, plug in your launch pad, and then you'll be able to program it through your CodeComposer Studio or whatever IDE you have, create custom firmware using some of the examples as starting points or templates, and then you can load that code directly to here, or on your PC you can basically grab those binary files. You can somehow get that to your phone either through download or through cable transfer, and then you can over-the-air update your sensor tag with those too. So different options to upload, but this is kind of the traditional way if you're building your own custom code using some kind of Simple Link launchpad to upload custom code. Of course, if you have the CC1352 launchpad, that's kind of the one-to-one device, so you can kind of most fully align with what the sensor tag is capable of, but any Simple Link launchpad will work for that. The other last caveat as well is they gave us this little cable. This is for the UART transmissions when you're doing the debugging like this, the programming. So you want to connect this one of these wires to the TX line of the launchpad, and then there's another line over here, pin 13, that will need to get connected so you can get the UART working. So yeah, that's pretty much how you program everything. That's the out-of-box experience for the software. And that's basically the Launchpad sensor tag. It looks pretty good hardware. Very obviously innovative design. Very modular, out of the box, like super functional. Lots of ways that you could just use this as is, but of course it's I think very capable hardware with both Bluetooth and sub-gigahertz RF capability. So probably lots of other ways to use this. You can also see that the battery compartment is detachable. So another feature of this board is this will actually detach from the battery compartment, and you can kind of pull this out, and there's even an ability to use like a coin cell battery to power this, or potentially you can reuse this connector for other types of battery sources. So other ways from the power perspective how this might be used. But yeah, that's the tour of the Launchpad sensor tag.